Hello everyone. Today we will be solving quadratic equation using quadratic formula. This is the second part. I will put the link of the first part in the description box below. So this second part would be at the end of the problem that we're going to have today. We will be able to come up with two imaginary roots. Just to take you back to the different type of roots that a quadratic equation can have. These are the types of roots, or these are the three cases. So when the discriminant is less than 0, this is in the parabola here is located on top of the x-axis. It doesn't cross the x-axis. So the roots here are imaginary. So in this case that we have in the problem that we're going to have in a little bit, it's this case right here where the x is where the parabola does not cross the x-axis. So let's take this as an example. So when we graph this equation will not cross the x-axis. So we need to find what are the roots for this. So then the roots here are imaginary since it is not crossing the x-axis. So the first step that we are going to do is to change this to standard form. So the standard form for this, as you can see in the first video here, this is the standard form for quadratic equation. So be sure that before you jump into solving for x using this equation, be sure that the equation is in standard form so you would know where is the a, where is the b, and where's the c, so you can plug in values into the equation. So since this one is not in standard form right here, we are going to change this to standard form. That's ax squared plus bx plus c. So what are we going to do is we are going to add x squared from both sides. So pretty much like we are combining like terms. So that's plus x squared. We want this side to be 0 because that's the equation. In order to solve, that's the general form of the equation in order to solve for x. So this one right here, we're going to add 3. So that's a plus 3 and plus 3. So then we can cross these two out. So that means the right side now is 0. So we got a 0 on this side. And so here, this would come out 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. Because you have a 1 plus 3 is 4, then we just drop the negative 3x down, and then x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. So from here, we would know that our a is 2, our b is negative 3, and our c is positive 4. From here, we plug these values into the equation for the quadratic formula. That is to solve for x, that is equal to the negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's the quadratic formula. At this time, we are going to plug the values in. I gave a trick on how to use this equation. I will give you the trick again today. So what are we going to do is we are going to change the letter. Before we plug this a, b, and c into the equation, change the letters, all the variables here, change them into a parentheses. And once you have changed them into parentheses, that's the time that you put in these values into the parentheses. So if we change this into parentheses, this would come out negative parentheses plus minus square root of parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses times parentheses. So again, I'm changing the letters into parentheses. So that's 2 parentheses. So I'll give you the reason why we need to have the parentheses. Because if we plug these values in already, there will be others would miss the signs and they will not include it when they square it. So all those stuff. So all those mistakes. So letters like a parentheses first before you put these numbers into the parentheses. So we have that's the b. So I'm gonna put a negative 3, and then this one right here would be a negative 3. That's a b, and then that's an a. That's a 2 right there, so I put 2 here. That's a C, which is a 4. And so this is an A, I put the 2 over here. So then from here, I can simplify this. Let's show the work on the other side over here. So this can be simplified as negative of a negative 3 is a positive 3. And then that's a plus minus square root of negative 3 times negative 3. This is where most mistakes are committed. So they would think that this is a negative 9 because they forgot to put the negative 3 inside the parentheses. This is a positive 9 because negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. And then 4 times 2 times 4 is a 32, negative 32. And then this is over 2 times 2 is 4. So then we can simplify this some more. That would be 3 plus minus square root of 9 minus 32 is negative 23. And that is over 4. So then from here, we remember that there is, whenever we get a negative number inside the square root, we can break it down into this form. So that would be negative, that would be 23 times negative 1. And then that is over 4. There is another video on how we got this into a negative 1. It's about complex numbers. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. So this would become, if we break this down, this would come out 3 plus minus square root of 23 times square root of negative 1 over 4. So square root of negative 1 is I. So then we can go ahead and rewrite this as 3 plus minus square root of 23, and then this negative 1 is I, so I put the I over there, over 4. So this is the solution that we have over here. So we can simplify this some more. So how do we get the two values for x here? This is not in standard form. Just a reminder, the standard form for complex numbers should be a plus bi. Again, there is another video on how this is the standard form for complex number. So standard form for complex number. There is another video on this. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. So I will continue to show the work over here. So there are two answers that we can have here. The first one is the positive answer, the one with a plus, and then the other one the one with a negative. So let's simplify this. So this would come out to be, so the first x is 3 plus 23i. That's the square root of 23i over 4. So that's the first solution. Remember that because we want it in standard form, that is not in standard form. So this 3 and 4 go together, and this one would go together. So the standard form for our first solution is 3/4 plus square root of 23i over 4. So this is the first solution, and this is now in standard form. This is a complex number in standard form. This is our A, and this is our BI part. Now let's have the second one right here. So we have x. So the other x here is a minus. So 3 minus square root of 23i. Again, I got it from here. So that is negative 20 minus 23i, and then that's over 4. And then we do exactly the same thing. So this one is gonna get paired up. And so the standard form for the second answer is x is equal to 3 over 4 minus square root of 23i over 4. So this is the second solution. So we have two solutions for this, and these two are imaginary solutions because you have an I as part of the answer. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!